everyone to the Wannabes podcast. I'm Morgan Holsworth.
And I'm Luke Walters.
Today we're going to be discussing a couple things. We're going to be going over our review for the Pixar and Disney film Onward, and then we're going to get into some industry news.
Yeah.
So,
I'm excited for the industry news part.
this will be exciting, yes. So, let's start it off.
Yeah.
What was your thoughts of Onward? Like, did you like it or did you dislike? Like, where are you on that range?
Nah, I liked it. I'm in the I liked it range. I hated that I liked it.
I told you it was good.
Yeah, it was good, but like, it was still pretty paint by the numbers.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'll give it this though, since we brought up Disney Jaw for Frozen. In this context, made sense, and actually, I think since it fit this film, like I didn't even notice it as much.
Sure.
If it's even there, I need to watch it again just to see if they do the Disney shit. I don't even think they did.
Well, it helps that it was though Pixar and Disney are together now, it was more heavy Pixar studio than it was Disney, I believe. But
makes sense, I guess.
So, just so if anyone doesn't know, Onward is a computer animated suburban fantasy adventure film. So this came out at the peak of the pandemic, and because of when it came out, it bombed.
Did it?
Yes. So, and that's only because the theaters closed. I think it had a week, maybe a week and a half, and then theaters were closed.
I want to say 2 weeks.
I think it was about a week and a half to 2 weeks.
Yeah, at the most 2 weeks, because I'm pretty sure, like Bloodshot and The Hunt got to come out, and they came out, I believe, the week after Onward. So yeah,
sounds about right.
Makes sense.
It sounds about right.
It still didn't do anything good for that weekend. I mean, to say that it bombed.
So here, I will read what it did. So it came out on March 6th here in the United States.
Yeah,
and it has received generally positive reviews from critics, but it does say that the major box office was a failure because it only grossed $103 million worldwide.
Yeah, right. That's a bomb, all right.
Yeah, I mean, let's be real. They're still making their money off of it. They still did great, but for normal pricing, when you have its full time being able to go out, like it's full theater time, if you will.
Now that's what I want to know is how it's done on Disney Plus.
Yeah, because
how does that translate? Because it will actually feed into something that we're going to talk about later.
Right.
But how does that translate? I've always wondered how like Netflix gets their numbers and stuff, because I know that there's like subscribers, but how do you translate amount of views? Because you can watch it on Disney Plus for free free if you pay for the subscription. But like, how does that translate? How do you make your money off that? I've always been curious.
I'm not actually certain on how they make their money. I know how they can watch the views, but I don't specifically know how they correlate how much money they're making from it.
Correct. I've always wondered that, because it will. Knowing that, well, I mean, I don't need to know that to feed into the argument later, but it would help. Sure.
So, let's see, is there anything else? Yeah, so the financial shortcomings were because of the pandemic. I mean, there were theaters that were closed out of the United States at this point as well.
Yeah.
So, sadly, it took a hit because of that, like many movies have, and they moved to the PVOD.
Yeah, everybody got boned. We knew that was going to happen.
Yep.
And really, this movie, not the ones that came out after so much, but this movie in particular is one that you can say really got affected. The other ones, I mean, yeah, they lost money, but like, were they going to make money to begin with?
Sure.
You know? I'm sorry, Bloodshot and The Hunt.
So, this cast is only a total of 13 people.
Makes sense.
And for the main ones we see, there's, I think, 5 that we see the most, which the 2 leading characters are played by Tom Holland, which is Ian Lightfoot, and then his brother is Barley Lightfoot, which is played by Chris Pratt. They are the leads of this of this movie.
Funny thing about that, and I actually just thought about this on the way over, is the fact that Chris Pratt in this film just plays like a
nerd?
No, he plays like a schlubby Peter Quill. Because they have the same backstory.
Actually, yeah, kind of.
They have the exact same backstory, the exact same motivation.
Except Dad died,
And
Mom
then-
is alive, and doesn't have a crazy like Godfather.
Whatever. And in Guardians of the Galaxy, Mom died, Dad is alive until the second movie, spoilers, and he's got crazy companions that he goes across the universe with. So like, and especially that whole thing of how it ends for that character. I don't want to spoil it, but their resolutions are like the same too. I just realized that. Like I should have known this when I watched the movie.
Yeah.
So that was funny. And then I thought while I was watching, I was like, man, yeah, Chris Pratt should have been in Frozen, and the dude in Frozen should have been in this movie. Totally fucked that up. Totally fucked that. But it was cool to see Spider-Man and Peter Quill in the same movie.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Kind of, yeah. So, he definitely, like Ian, definitely struggled with the magic aspect, kind of like how Peter first does with the Spidey powers.
Yeah.
So that was kind of interesting.
Yeah. I guess. Not this Peter anyway. Not
No.
Tom Holland's Peter.
No, but like past Peters, you see like the kind of like what, and then you even see Ian eventually like really getting have fun with it later in the film, and then you even see that with Peter.
Yep. So now I want to see the Onward extended universe.
Yes. Where is Doctor Strange specifically?
Yeah. Yeah, I want to see that universe. Give me that. But yes, I did enjoy this movie. The CGI was on point.
Yeah, the art was great.
It kind of, I mean, it didn't take away from the movie, but when they started like going on their quest and stuff, I was like, I feel like maybe if they were human characters, I'd be more into it. Maybe, I don't know. I just feel like when they say they're going on like this epic quest and for something like this, I just imagined human characters. I guess I don't know. I don't know that much about this stuff.
Are you being racist against elves right now?
Okay, they didn't even look like elves. They look more like trolls, to be completely honest with you.
I mean, you're not.
They told me they were elves, and I was like, that's not elves. Even I know that. That's not elves.
All right, so one interesting thing that I read about the director, who is, what is his first name? I have his last name. Dan Scanlon. Or Scanlon, yeah. Gosh darn it.
Yeah, we know a Scanlon, but spelled completely differently. Because I saw it too, and I was like, oh! Nope, there's an extra N.
Yep.
Scanlon.
This film was actually inspired by his own father's death. And when him and his brother were younger and the relationship that they had. So it was kind of like a cute little thing to learn. That
So they played a lot of D&D together. And
all the D&D references was my fuel for this movie.
Yeah, I know. Go ahead, because I don't know nothing about it. Even though I played this game, I still don't get it. So go ahead. Manticore was cool though.
Manticore was great, and I loved how she kind of like lost it.
Yeah, because she sold out.
Yeah.
She was like, oh man, I sold out. Everybody get out!
She's like, screw this, get my mojo back, get gone.
Burning my own place down. Nice.
I also loved their mother, full on just like doing I'm a warrior workouts, and then full on later in the movie that really comes into play, and I really enjoyed that whole thing with her and Manticore.
And she does the I am a warrior workout to spoilers to I'm not going to spoil.
Yeah, to the end.
To the ending.
She's a warrior.
I've seen stuff like that before, so I was like, oh, okay.
It was cute.
They played it, and I was like, yeah.
You can't help but laugh at it.
There are aspects of the ending. Okay, I'll tiptoe around it because Ian's motivation, because the whole reason they start this whole thing is because they want to see their dad.
Yes.
Right? One hasn't seen their dad since they're little, and one just hasn't seen their dad at all.
Yeah, he's only ever heard audio recordings, and one thing about the audio recording that he has, the director, this idea came from when he heard an audio recording of his own father.
That is adorable. And depressing.
Yeah.
You're going to cry, aren't you?
No. I 100% did while watching that movie.
I know you did. I know full well you did. Yeah, so it was for their motivations and how it ends. I was like, man, one of them gets snubbed. One of them gets really snubbed. And it's actually, they just kind of breeze it over, and like I get it because he still has kind of like an equivalent resolution.
Yeah.
But I think, me personally, I would have preferred the actual.
Like more of a conflict?
No,
with it,
no.
or-
If it was me, so Ian's whole motivation is he hasn't seen his dad.
Right,
Right,
and
it's the whole reason
he
he's
wants to
doing
meet him.
Right. Well, his ending, he still gets a good ending, but it's not the one that he wanted. And so I was like, well, I don't really think. I'm just thinking you can't really substitute that. Like I would have, and me personally, I would have rather had the thing instead of the consolation prize. You know what I mean? Like
I totally get that. I do enjoy what they also did with it too, though.
Oh, I do too. I
Yeah.
just thought about it some more. I was like, no. Me personally.
Sure.
Doesn't
sure.
take anything away from the movie.
I wish they had the chance to get both of those endings together.
Yeah, and like they could have. It was like, I mean, it built up drama, and it was pretty effective. But I just kept watching, and I was like, okay, you're right there. Oh, we're gonna go a little further.
You can definitely tell this was a brother movie, and that
I didn't tell that until like halfway through the movie. I was like, okay, by the numbers, this is what we're gonna do. And then they flipped it, and I went, okay, now it's a by the numbers brother movie.
Yeah.
Which is cool. It was fun,
Yeah.
but it
And
wasn't
at
until
least-
about like halfway where they
At
flipped on me.
least at the very least, what they did with Ian's ending,
Mm-hmm.
at least it played to the brother side of the movie.
Yeah,
You know.
absolutely.
Yeah. So I enjoyed it. I mean, I cried. No
Okay.
surprise.
Yeah.
When Dan and I turned on Disney Plus to go watch it, and like we had like the big screen of it. I'm like, hold on, I gotta go to the restroom. And I walk up and I see like you have Barley. He has this vest with all these patches on it, and I immediately notice, even from the bed, I got up and looked at the screen while going to the bathroom, and I was like, that's a D20. Oh my god, he's into D&D. I am all about this. Let's go.
Yeah, because they're like an alternate future of like, it's basically like Lord of the Rings got modernized, right?
I wouldn't go that far for Lord of the Rings, but kind of.
Well, it's not Lord of the Rings. I mean, that's mainstream fantasy stuff. Like everybody knows Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm.
So just imagine the Lord of the Rings happened 1,000 years ago.
It's like my life put into an urban fantasy.
Yeah, but nobody knows you yet.
I'm just saying.
But yeah, that's the whole premise. Is fantasy happened like thousands of years ago, basically like the dinosaurs, but modernized. So like everybody's living with cars and stuff, and like
Yeah.
minotaurs drive and junk. It's kind of crazy.
I find it hilarious that the unicorns were basically the raccoons.
Raccoons and bats.
Yeah.
They hissed, and I was like, "Get off my screen."
I laughed. I laughed quite a bit at that.
Well, what did you like about this movie? I mean, it made more of an impression on you,
So,
for sure.
hands down, all the D&D references. I like every time one came out, because I've been playing D&D for probably 5 years now.
Gross.
Shut up. I've DM'd a few things, but I've only DM'd as of right now like a really full, strong campaign, because I finally have the right players.
Mm-hmm.
And so all my knowledge that I have behind certain things, I'm like, hey, and like they did different names for the spells because legally they had to.
Mm-hmm.
But like sitting there and watching it, I'm like, hey, that's actually meant to be this spell in D&D and that sort of thing.
You are deep. You are entrenched. By the way, I don't actually hate this game, alright? I have played, and I have had a good time. It's just I play it for different reasons. So if we're not playing for the reason that I want to play, it's like rocket science to me. It's completely beyond me. Maybe I just need to give it more time and play some more, but
Yes,
it hasn't happened
you
yet.
do. You really do.
So, TBC. But I don't want to give off the wrong impression. I don't hate the game. I can have fun with it. But I am going to keep bragging on it.
Yeah, because he hates me.
Because
It's fine.
I don't just do it to you. Don't worry. You're not the only person I know that likes the game.
But yeah, I mean, I loved that, and just because like the nerd in me was like, yes, every time something happened. Or I also just really loved the emotion that was in it too. I mean, I cried. So, hey, if a movie...
Careful how you say this, because it's hard. It's not hard to get you to cry.
I know, but if I've been in other movies that haven't made me cry, where typically they would have.
Well, that's because they're garbage.
Exactly. That means if I cried, it's not a garbage film.
Which brings me to another point. I need Disney to put out a stinker right now. Right now. I need them to show me that they're human. I need to know that the formula doesn't work every single fucking time. I need a black cauldron right now.
You didn't like Black Cauldron?
It's fine, but like, it's not.
It's an old Disney film
It's not
is
that
hard.
great. It should be 1,000 times better. It should be like the movies that come out now good, but it's not.
Well, that's a hard story to tell to kids, in my opinion.
Are you fucking kidding me? Grow some balls. Grow some balls.
I mean, I'm fine with. I will tell a child it happily. I love King Arthur.
Yeah, I know you will. You're evil.
Told me to grow a pair.
No, I told Disney to grow a pair. They're working on it a little bit.
But hopefully, I think they're slowly stepping in that direction.
No,
Maybe.
it's their live action stuff that grows a pair, not their animated.
True. That's not wrong.
So at least there's that, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We'll see.
Yeah. Is there anything
yeah.
else you want to say about this movie? Because, I mean, I can give it a grade and junk, but...
I mean, I love it. Go see it. Well, sit on your couch or lay in your bed and see it.
Watch it with your family. If
Yeah.
you got one.
It's a great family film,
yeah,
for sure.
If you got two little rugrats running around that are brothers or siblings or something, make them watch it.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. It's good like that.
Definitely.
This would have been a movie that like that like I could imagine, because my brothers and I are like the polar opposites in damn near everything you can imagine, right? So I'd imagine if my mom had this movie at her disposal when we were kids, she'd be like, "Here, you sit down and you watch this movie. That's how you're supposed to act. Do that. Be nice."
One thing I did really like also about this film is just how it really played on to making sure people found, whether it was like personally, like themselves, or even you see with the Pixies, how they weren't able ever to fly, and then they were finally able.
Oh, the message of don't rely on technology?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
I did think that was kind of nice, and it has a nice... It hits home, because a lot of people in life do right now, so...
Well, let's be real. We kind of have no choice right now.
Well, right now, yes, it's kind of... That's how we use... That's what we are doing to communicate with each other, that sort of stuff, so...
By the way, real quick, since you mentioned it earlier, this movie actually has conflict.
Yeah.
And actually has, like, good character conflict.
Oh, I agree. 100%.
For the most part, though. For the most part. Because I'm watching it, and Ian is supposed to be kind of, like, neurotic and unsure of himself.
Mm-hmm.
It's Peter Parker, just, like, dialed up to 1,000 cartoon-wise, so no wonder Tom Holland got cast, I guess. In my opinion. And then, what's his name? What's his brother's name?
Barley.
Barley, thank you. Barley is just confident and like kind of full of himself and just thinks it does it type of deal.
Later in the movie, though, you get to see some of his insecurities, which are really nice.
Right, but up until that point, it's just like Frozen did it too, but Frozen just didn't care. They were like, we're just, no conflict. We're just gonna like shoehorn some stuff. This movie did that too, because everything, for the most part, just kind of just goes, and everything's just working out.
Mm-hmm.
And really, it's not until they hit a point where the movie's like, okay, they absolutely have to have something happen. Like, something needs to happen here. There wasn't any build-up to something happening. It was just like, now it's time for the thing to happen.
Sure.
Because everything's been going too good. I didn't like that. I'm getting tired of that. Like, build-up would be nice.
Yeah,
Not just telling me this is the story and this is how it's going to go, because they go on a quest. They're looking for an item. So they tell us at the beginning of the movie that they're going to go on the quest for the item, and then they start. No problems. everything's going phenomenal, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, now we have to have that moment of, oh crap, you know what I mean? I don't feel like I'm doing a great job of explaining it, but you get it.
I get what you mean. It's kind of like, okay,
like even with their characters, because nobody's really doing anything to like screw anything up. It's just like at a point, like they argue. Right. Why are you arguing? Like nothing bad has really happened. Everything's been fine. You had really one kind of bad thing happen with the Pixies, but other than that, everything's been smooth sailing. So like, what the hell's the problem? But they argue like they've been questioning each other the whole time, and they haven't.
Right.
Like one bad thing happened, and now we just got to go off on each other, even though it's Ian that's going off on Barley. You know what I mean? It just comes out of nowhere, and I go, I know you need to have that in there for conflict's sake, but I don't like how you did it.
There was, they could have made it like more prominent throughout the rest of the film.
Yeah.
There could have been a little bit more of a struggle, definitely. One thing is there ends up being a big conflict with Harley and Ian, and I wish there was. The only thing was I wish there was a little bit more of that conflict. If you will.
Show more cracks. I mean, I get it that they're two different personalities, but their personalities didn't directly come into conflict with each other.
Correct.
Until that one point, but it was just one point. Like even at the beginning of the movie's trying to tell me that, you know, that they're. I mean, it tells me that they're different, but it doesn't tell me that they're at odds with each other.
Right.
Besides Barley embarrassing Ian a little bit, but it's not like he's doing anything to just make it seem like this is going to be a problem later. Right.
I think it was just like there is the stress because I mean it's stated in the film, in the trailer for the film that they're on a quest to basically be able to see their dad again.
Yeah.
And they would only be able to see him for 24 hours. And then in the trailer you see like the legs of dad the entire time. So they're basically trying to beat the clock to be able to meet their father.
Oh, that was hilarious, by the way.
That was fantastic. But I feel like they copped out on some of that more like intensity with the brothers because they are trying to reach this time limit, you know?
Well, not even so much that, and
then not a time limit to the length of the film, a time limit to seeing their father.
Right. But I mean, just storytelling wise, and I could be just going off on this too much because these are kids movies and they're not made for me.
Right.
But Lion King, the animated version, is a kids movie too. But
oh boy, bringing Lion King up again.
I'm just saying, like it seems like kids aren't dumb.
Right.
They're not stupid.
They're totally not stupid.
You know what I mean? You don't have to keep making these really very impressive looking films. Like super impressive. But at the end of the day, it's like that's mostly what it is. It's just really great visuals with like the most basic of basic storytelling.
I mean, think about it. That even goes to like how, like what people are upset about with Avatar. That
is a whole nother level of basic storytelling.
No, I know. Like, it was a very simplistic, very non-original story.
Right. With a fuck ton of visuals. Put
in a really unique, really cool world.
Yeah.
That just had all the visuals to back up that world.
Yeah. But you get what I'm saying, though? Like,
I
personally find shit like that insulting.
Oh, I totally
do.
See that.
Just because it's like, your visuals are... They are very impressive, and I will tell you how awesome they are, till like the cows come home. But
no one has to tell us that Disney and Pixar can put out great visuals. They've been doing it for almost ever.
And they can do good stories, but it's like for how many movies they put out a year, more oftentimes than not, the actual stories and characters aren't worth a shit.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, you
wish there was more development, and you get some development with them, but you wish there was more that would drive the character, or more that would...
Just more to make me care. Like, I want to care about your movie more. I want to actually, like, give a shit about it in 5 minutes from now. Instead of just being like, oh, well, that was another one.
And, maybe it's just because, we look at films differently, that has ruined it for us at the same time. Maybe if...
I don't know. I don't think this is just a filmmaker thing. I'm sure we're not the only ones out there. Like, I get it, and especially because, like, they make money. Mm-hmm. They make a fuck ton of money. I know that's probably just what's driving this whole thing, is just churning out formula, but, you know, at the end of the day, and I'm sure more oftentimes, or more oftentimes than not, people probably feel the same way, but they keep upping the game with, like, visuals and shit. I mean, it on surface level, it's a different story, but then you watch and you go, it's not. And then they're like getting worse and worse. They're taking away story and just throwing more shit on the screen.
Sure. Well,
but it's still a good movie. I mean, especially for kids. If I'm a kid, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. For me personally, it's like a 6.
Sure.
5.
You're at a 5?
Yeah, it's average.
I'm at like a 7, and that's just because of all of the nerdy stuff.
Yeah, they gave you new bells and whistles.
Yeah. I was laughing a lot during that movie because of all the references.
Yeah, and again, I'm probably just being way too fucking hard on it because it's not made for me. It's made for kids. So, I get it, but it's still like Frozen was like the same way, and this has turned out to be the same way. I'm damn sure I'm not watching Trolls, so don't fucking ask me to watch Trolls.
I've actually never watched one of the Trolls, so you do not have to worry about that.
Good. And then whatever the next one comes out, it'll probably be the same shit. So, so I agree.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see.
Stop making me watch Disney movies, I guess.
But why? So, with that, are you ready to move on to our industry news?
Yes, I am.
So.
Did enjoy the movie, though.
It was a good, cute movie. Again, see if you have kids, watch it with your kids. It's a cute, like, fun family time kind of movie.
Yeah. Or if you really like Disney,
or if you really like Disney, if you really like D&D and you just want to laugh at them, at like references, you could do that too. So.
If you like D&D, watch Stranger Things.
I mean, that's also a good one, but the references aren't as like bam in your face with Stranger Things.
Anyway, go ahead.
Alright, so now we're moving on to this part of our episode where we're in industry news. First thing I'm going to talk about...
Need like a big thing on the screen that goes, industry news. No, don't do that. Maybe like some fireworks at the end of like the I and the Y. Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Oh boy. Alright, so as of April 21st, Sony had officially announced the name of the second Venom movie.
Yeah, so, no, this is me. This is right. This is right up my alley. Yeah, go ahead.
So, the official title for Venom 2 is Venom: Let There Be Carnage.
That's awesome. That's awesome. They totally screwed up though. Although Disney probably owns the rights to this title, I would imagine, and Marvel still does. But it should be called Maximum Carnage.
Understandable. And who knows, maybe there will be...
Do you know why it should be called Maximum Carnage?
So, the name is there in the back of my head, and when you say it, I recognize it, but I can't remember anything else that goes with it.
Read more comics. Now I myself need to double check because I always brain fart on this whole thing. But essentially, Maximum Carnage is Carnage's his first big run in comics. Like when they did it, any Spider-Man title at that time was involved. So it was like issue 1 of Maximum Carnage is an amazing Spider-Man, and it was 16 issues. So issue 1 is like Amazing Spider-Man. Issue 16 is like Peter Parker Spider-Man. So you gotta buy one book from like each series to be able to collect that thing, and it is a bitch and a half. Let me tell you, I still haven't got them all, but that's why, especially with the characters that they are introducing. I think they're introducing Shriek in this film. Doppelganger maybe. I can't remember if that's a thing. That'd be cool. But everybody that's coming into this movie, allegedly or rumored to be, is in that storyline. So that's just like they missed it.
Gotcha.
But if I had to guess, they probably couldn't because Marvel probably has that title.
It's either for copyright, just for reasons they can't, or maybe they're holding out for a third film.
Yeah, Let There Be Carnage is fine too. It's a little on the nose, but let's be real. We all knew Carnage was going to be in this shit anyway because it's been fucking everywhere. Plus that
Plus we had the end credit scene.
Yeah, so we all knew Carnage was coming, so if you got a problem that it's telling you the Carnage is in the film, fucking, what do you live under a rock? Title's fine. I like it. It's badass.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
So one thing also was...
Is this the bad news part?
This is the bad news part.
You son of a gun.
So, Sony has also officially announced that they are delaying the Venom 2 release date. The original release date was going to be October 2nd of this year of 2020. It has now been pushed back to June 25th of 2021.
God, I'm so mad. Yeah, I get it. I mean, we don't know, still don't know what's going on with the world and the coronavirus, the virus. Yeah, my fault. So I get it, but I think marketing strategy-wise, and I don't know what the slate is for next summer, what else is supposed to come out, but having a film come out in October was smart, because I don't think there's too much big coming out in October.
No, October is the heavy thriller time because they're all getting ready for Halloween.
Yeah, exactly.
And honestly, even think about it, Venom kind of can work in that time frame.
Venom should work in that time frame
absolutely.
if you do it right.
And I think that October was a great idea. And so
the last
I wonder,
one came out in October.
Yeah. And the fact that it's being pushed into prime time, like summer films, is concerning.
Well, it just depends what it goes up against, because you got a better chance of it setting records in October. It probably ain't gonna set records in June because there's other stuff that's gonna be out. I imagine there's at least one other Marvel movie that it's coming out at that time.
I'm looking up to see if anything has been announced for that.
Yeah.
So it'd be June. Well, it comes out June 11th, but
does it get
you're gonna have Jurassic World, and that's gonna pull in a lot of people. That's gonna be a harsh one to go against. Luckily, it has an extra week or so.
I don't think it's that harsh, but that's still a name. So you know what I mean.
Let's see. Oh, this is really weird. Okay, June. So we have the biggest one. There is an untitled Pixar animated film.
Yeah.
Those are the only ones it's going up against in June that are, in my opinion, names that I would recognize and that would be something to worry about.
Well, it's still got more competition. Yeah. So that is unfortunate. That is unfortunate.
Yeah, and then looking even in the first week of July, just because that would also be maybe a hindrance, you have Minions: The Rise of Gru, as well as Jackass 4.
Oh, interesting. I mean, not to harp too much on like numbers and like the insider speak. I guess I don't know, but it does go into a success of a film. You know, if it comes out in October and makes all the money, then it'll get more praise. Whereas if it comes out in June and makes most of the money,
sure,
it could still be looked at as a failure. Because if it comes up short compared to the first one, somebody's going to call it a failure. Now, is it because the movie sucks, or is it because people are watching the Disney Pixar movie and Minions and Jurassic World all at the same time? So it's got to split because there's other shit that came out.
Sure.
So.
Just because I'm curious, I would like to see the box office for the first one.
Over 800 mil.
Let's see.
Set records.
Where is it?
I don't know what it finished at, but I know it got over 800 mil.
Yeah, with over 856 million worldwide.
Destroyed. Holy shit.
Yeah, it set several box office records for an October release.
Yeah. So that's why this one was probably coming out in October too. And they're like, well, now we got Carnage in there.
That's like, it went great in October for the first one, and I wish they kept it in October.
We'll look this up after, but I wonder what's going on with Morbius, because that's in the same universe.
True.
I'm pretty sure that's going to have to get delayed too. I think that was supposed to come out this summer. And it's supposed to go Venom, Morbius, and then Venom 2, and they're all supposed to be building off each other, so that kind of sucks, but the hype is real for that universe. I'm excited. I saw the trailer for Morbius, it's like done.
It's going to be good.
Oh god. Moving on.
So yeah, sadly that film is being delayed. We wish it wasn't, but I don't know what's going on production-wise and if the pandemic has affected it in any way.
Nah.
That's probably, I'm assuming, the reason for the delay.
Sure, I mean, everybody's doing it, but the hype is real. So,
Yes.
come out soon.
So while I was doing my research, I didn't even know they were making more. Doesn't surprise me, but there's more Transformers movies coming.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No, surprisingly.
Bumblebee was a hit, so now they're trying to branch off of that.
I'm gonna be honest, Bumblebee being a hit really surprised me.
Me too.
Did not.
And then I watched it and I went, okay. It is good.
Actually isn't bad.
Yeah.
So Paramount, wow, if I could speak today, has set a June 24th, 2020 release date for their new Transformers movie.
Mm-hmm.
They're not stating which one of these movies is going to be on that date.
Yeah. Well, if they're smart, tell Michael Bay to stay his ass at home and follow what you established with Bumblebee. Because that's good.
Yeah.
Whereas the other ones, even though they make all the money, are fucking trash. Excuse me, I'm sorry. They're not trash. I really like the first one, and I do like the third one.
Yeah, actually that's about where I'm at.
Other than that, which is sad, because it should be a lot better. And then they made Bumblebee, and it was.
I remember watching that cartoon when I was younger.
Right, which one?
I couldn't tell you that.
Okay.
I wasn't that diehard.
Well, I mean, I've seen the original movie, but the one that got me hooked onto it was Armada.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that was like the early to mid 2000s, and it was on Cartoon Network, so game on.
That might have been the one I was watching, I think.
Yeah, that one was fun and sweet. Anyway.
So, one thing so the two movies, one is reportedly going to be a follow-up of 2018's Bumblebee. They're basically like working on like a little expansion of that, and then the other one is going to be a spin-off based on the Transformers series Beast Wars.
Yeah.
Which I'm unfamiliar with that series.
I've heard all this before too. So this is old news to me.
Sure.
But I don't know. I think
the newest news was the actual announcement of their release date.
Yeah, I think it's dumb. Personally, I think it's stupid. Paramount, if you want to have a fucking franchise, you have the Ninja Turtles.
Yes.
Make a good Ninja Turtles movie. Do that. Stop trying to shove Transformers down my fucking throat. You already started off a good thing with Bumblebee. Keep the momentum on that and keep making good sequels to that. And there you go. You've been handed something good. Don't fuck it up. Beast Wars, I think Beast Wars is a little too ambitious. Because they're Transformers, but they're like animals.
Oh, so kind of like what we saw in... I'm blanking on the name of which Transformers that was, but when like you saw like the T-Rex or whatever.
Oh yeah.
So it's kind of like that.
Extinction, Age of Extinction. Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
But please just keep making sequels to Bumblebee. Do that. That was really, really good. That was better than it should have been, considering what you established with the other one. So you've got everybody's good graces right now. Don't fuck it up. Beast Wars, I think it's just you're asking a bit much.
Because of how Transformers is, and I didn't even go see Bumblebee in theaters.
I didn't either.
And typically I would. Typically those sort of things I would, but with how the past Transformers is, I was like,
Right.
Whatever. And then it surprised me when I finally watched it later. Later I was like, wow, actually good job, guys.
Yeah. Instead, Paramount, what you could do, and I'm not gonna lie, this is because I'm a super fan, make a good Ninja Turtles movie and stop doing shit like Top Gun 2 and Transformers 52. Maybe? And stop letting Michael Bay do everything. I mean, if he's a producer, it's fine, but please, he doesn't need to fucking have his fingerprints on all your shit.
So, staying in the more superhero kind of realm, we have Charlie Cox. Is it Cox?
Charlie Cox.
Okay. Who played Daredevil in Netflix's Daredevil, which is fantastic.
My body is ready.
He's basically spoken that he believes that when Daredevil makes his inevitable reappearance in the MCU, like in the movies, that sort of thing, that he probably won't be brought back.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's been so long. And let's be real. He's got to be Disney-fied, right?
Right.
I hate to put it that way because it's Marvel stuff, but it has to fit into Disney's mold of what Marvel is. It's a fact. And Charlie Cox, even though I would love to see him back, he was so good. That was that dark, gritty, violent, just bloody version. So he's got that association.
It's the version we deserve.
Absolutely.
Just like Deadpool, give us like the hardcore rated R. Same with Venom.
I'm still waiting on that. The cool thing about that is like if it's a Deadpool movie, or if Deadpool's in somebody else's movie, cool, he'll totally fit.
Sure.
Right? So that's cool. I just don't think they're going to do that with Daredevil though. So yeah, this all makes total sense.
And when they eventually really bring in the Punisher,
right?
Like, how are you going to make a not R-rated Punisher? Don't know how they're going to do it, but
yeah. So this kind of sounds totally legit, and it's also been so long, and I don't even know how many people have really watched the shows anyway. So if you have Netflix, fucking watch the shows.
When I was doing the research, every episode, almost every single episode they put out for Daredevil got a 97%.
Oh.
And it actually was stated that if Disney wasn't pulling their stuff because of Disney Plus, they would have probably been making season 4.
Yeah, they should have continued. All the shows were good in their own way. I mean, I get the controversies and whatever, but they're all so good.
Yeah. Even if like they ended up doing like a combined thing with Disney Plus, that would have been great, so they could have continued it. But
asking too much. Yeah. So yeah, it's unfortunate because if they do it, it should be Charlie Cox, but it probably won't be. He's right. He gets it.
Yeah.
But that's why I think
the sad truth.
Yeah, the association thing I think is really what's hurting them. Unless you're Ryan Reynolds and it's Deadpool, like I don't think you can play that character in one universe and be like hard R and mature, and then come in and be like, no, I'm still gonna do it this way. Oh well.
Sadly, it is what it is.
If they surprise me and he does it though, game on. I'm on board. Done.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of Daredevil and how Charlie Cox really brought Daredevil to the screen and to us.
So we're probably not going to see Daredevil in a Marvel thing probably until we're like in our mid-30s. So
it's probably going to be a while.
It's going to be a while.
Your mid-30s or my mid-30s?
Yours.
Oof. That's so long. Oh boy. All right, so.
Yeah.
Another movie to discuss is the Saw movie Spiral.
Man, I'm so scared.
Lionsgate has bumped its Saw movie Spiral back a whole year to May 2021. It was really supposed to come out May of 2020. It was supposed to come out actually on May 15th.
Yeah.
But it has been pushed back a year.
Good.
And once again, this is all because of the pandemic that's going on, and it sucks, but
no, good. For this specifically, and until we come under or you give me more examples that it fits like this, it fits for this. Because the Saw franchise started out so good, and then they just got more and more mediocre as it's gone on. So if they want to do this, and I believe the idea is to make it more of like an anthology thing, you need to come out swinging. So this is good. Take your time, make sure it's exactly how you want it. I have all the faith in Chris Rock because I've seen the trailer. He looks like because he produced the movie. He looks like he knows what he's doing. He understands the story and stuff and what's already been established. So good on him, man. Good. I want this movie to be good.
Yeah, and I've never been a big fan of the Saw movie. Honestly, I don't even know if I've seen any. Because, we've stated before, I've never been a huge horror film person. So, it's actually, I've been getting more into them.
Business.
I've been getting more into them lately.
Yeah, you're
probably
welcome.
because of you. But, I mean, I'm actually surprised by the May release date. Because that's
they had so much faith in this movie, and you know what? Good on 'em. I think they've really got something.
because like May is the beginning of the big blockbuster films every year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I remember when the first Thor movie came out. That was in May because it was on my birthday.
Yeah.
So
Lucky you.
yeah, that was my birthday present from my brother to go sushi and Thor. So
That sounds dope.
yeah, it was great. So but I actually think that was the first time I ever had sushi. Hooked ever since. But anyway, I'm surprised to see a Saw movie push for the May and summer release dates rather than more of the typical October.
Well, that used to be the tradition when you were a youngin'.
No, that totally was.
Yeah, they had a Saw movie coming out every year at Halloween.
Yep.
Every year. But they got to come out swinging. They're trying to establish something, and I think that they will.
I don't mind. I mean, my opinion, sure. I like the horror vibe at like the Halloween time is cool. Mm-hmm. But it's nice that they're bringing them out also, not just during that time.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
good on them.
Not shitty ones. So good.
All right.
This is fine. I'm on board with this one.
Yeah. So we have one more before the big topic.
Okay, quickly.
So.
Because it's going to be the bulk of our time, and that's why this video is going to run like 2 hours.
So, John Wick 4 has been officially delayed to May 2022.
Good. And we were talking about this before we started recording. This was going to happen anyway, because previously... Sorry, I'm stealing your thunder here.
No, you're totally fine.
Previously, it was slated to come out on the exact same date, and I don't know what the date is, but the exact same date as Matrix 4. So you were going to get a double feature of Keanu that weekend.
Which would have been completely fine.
Yeah, it would have been fine, but it wasn't going to happen.
Back to back, please.
That wasn't going to happen.
No, they would have contested each other really bad.
Yeah, no, they don't want that. So this was going to happen regardless. Give it a minute. Matrix is going to come out, and they're going to say that they're pushing back Matrix 4 as well. So yeah.
Yeah, I haven't. When I was looking, I didn't find any information on when it is, like how Matrix 4 is being affected, except for the fact that they paused doing principal photography in mid-March, and they were only 4 weeks into filming it at that point.
Yeah.
So like right now they're on pause for production, and we'll see what their expected release will end up being like. As of right now, when I was researching, I didn't find any announcement for Matrix being delayed, but it doesn't mean that they may have.
Oh no, it's totally going to happen.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. I think for certain projects, actually maybe all the projects, they're probably trying to make it work, but honestly everybody should just be like, look, it is what it is. Let's talk in a couple months. Shut it down.
Sure. So, on Tuesday.
Here we go.
of April, like Tuesday, April 28th, and I think a little bit of Monday as well.
Uh-huh. Oh, I am ready.
There has been a lovely feud that has brewed between Universal and movie theaters, but more specifically AMC itself.
Yeah, Universal, the movie production studio, not the theme park in Orlando.
Correct. Universal actual studios.
Pictures.
Actual pictures, actual studio.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, you actually brought this to me.
Yeah.
First, so I'll let you kind of lead on this one a little bit.
So the big gist, and we'll get more into detail, thank you. But the big gist is Universal Studios had released films, and released Trolls 2 on streaming, because I don't think they have The Hunt or Bloodshot. I think that's somebody else. Anyway,
yeah, those are something else.
They put Trolls on demand, and I believe you had to buy it.
Yes, it was only for rent.
Right.
And it was only for rent and for not to purchase.
Right.
And it was $20 to rent the movie.
I'll get to that later. Anyway, they put it on demand because all the theaters are shut down. They said that they were going to do this, and they've actually seen some success.
Yeah,
it's been quite successful during the pandemic, which I'm sure is playing a huge part. However, Universal came out and said that they are going to continue to do this, but they are still going to release films in theaters. Now, depending on what you read, actually, you know what? I'll save that for later. AMC theaters in particular did not like this and has come out and stated that because Universal wants to essentially have it both ways.
Correct.
They will no longer show any Universal film at the theaters, which I think is the biggest fucking mistake that they could make.
Oh, yeah.
They are being so stupid about this, and now they'll let me take it.
So with the PVOD coming out, which is just so if anyone doesn't know, it's called the Premium Video on Demand. Basically, there was a while back where Netflix attempted to even negotiate a theatrical release window of just 45 days. So typically a release from when a movie is in the theater to when it's like officially released elsewhere for ways to purchase is typically 90 days, so typically 3 months. Netflix at one point was trying to negotiate a 45-day release rather than a 90-day for The Irishman last year, and because of their negotiations, AMC and Cineplex completely didn't even show it in their theaters.
Good, and you know who benefited from that? You stupid assholes. It was Netflix.
Yep. Yes, they did.
Fucking morons.
And so they haven't learned their lesson from then.
Yeah.
And now they're doing this crap with Universal.
And okay, so here's the thing, and I believe you have the info to back me up because I really wanted you to pay attention to this one specific detail. Universal has not said that they are going to, because as I said earlier, they are going to release films on demand and in theaters. Now, specifically the couple that they've announced, and they did it with Trolls, and I know they specifically announced a Pete Davidson movie, which is like King of Staten Island, I think it's called, or some shit.
Yes. Yeah, something like that.
These are, in my opinion, not films that would necessarily make a big splash at the box office, right? These are hit or miss films. That's what it seems like to me. So, Universal has not come out and said that, like, Invisible Man just came out recently, and that was with Blumhouse, and that made a lot of money. They haven't said that or, like, Fast 9 are going to go to on demand. Those are still going to be in theaters. So if Universal is taking their movies that they know might not do that well at the box office and are saying these are the films that are going to be put to stream because we've seen a bigger return from that.
Right.
What the fuck is the problem? I don't understand why AMC took that info and just decided, you know what, we don't want your business anymore. That's bad business. It's fucking terrible business. Especially for them when they're already hurting right now. They might have to file for Chapter 11.
Yeah, there have been speculations about their financial hardships and possible bankruptcy.
They're hurting right now as it is. So why would you tell a major studio, I don't want your business anymore, when the only business that they are taking from you is stuff that you weren't going to make money on anyway?
Yeah, I mean, so some interesting things that I want to bring up. Let's see, where is it? So basically, Universal, however, did not utilize this as just being able to bring Trolls out to their younger fans sooner. This is a complete experiment.
Right.
That happened to turn out in a huge success.
Well, you had said, I don't know if you have it, but you told me that Universal and the other studios pulled their stuff without telling the theater. They just pulled it, right? And put it on demand.
Correct. That is what I've read somewhere.
Okay.
Yep.
Now,
there was no warning that they were going to be doing this.
If that is in fact true, that is the only mistake that the studios made. Mm-hmm. That's it. You should have told the theaters. You should have communicated that.
I mean, think about it. You had Invisible Man, Bloodshot. They all ended up pulling and going. Well, they still had their initial releases,
right,
but they still went to PVOD.
Right.
But there was obviously probably discussions about that, where in this case it seems like Universal just blindsided them with it.
And that's bad. They shouldn't have done that.
Correct.
But the forecast was absolutely right there in your face that theaters were going to shut down anyway. Not to try and justify this because they still screwed up. Correct. But I mean, if I wanted to, that would be my argument. That is the only mistake that the studio made. Other than that, if they decide, because as far as the splits go, like up until a film has been in theaters for like a month, the theater doesn't even make any money off those ticket sales anyway.
Correct.
So let's be real.
And those ones end up getting pushed, we witnessed it firsthand. They get pushed into the smaller theaters because they're not pulling the big things. They're in the theaters or in the way back 40 of the theater.
Correct. And if you want to argue that they make all their money off of concessions, fine. But it needs to be a film that's putting asses in the seats anyway. And it doesn't sound like that these films that Universal want to put either simultaneously in the theater and on demand or just on demand. These aren't those movies that are going to bring people in to fill up the theaters to want to watch the fucking movie anyway. So you're not making any money on tickets, and you're not making money on concessions. So why are you bitching, AMC?
They're probably just hoping that they're going to push the release and still release it with them, and they didn't do that.
No, this is AMC being a fucking petulant child. They're trying to do power moves when they have no grounds. In my opinion. They got nothing.
I do want to get a little bit into... basically how much money they made. Like, I don't have a specific number of what they've made off of
Universal?
Yeah.
Off the streaming?
Off of this, but
yeah.
So what ended up happening was they made Trolls World Tour available to rent and not buy. And the price was at $19.99 to rent it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how long that renting period lasted for.
2 days.
Was it 2 days?
2 days.
So that's basically roughly, depending on what theater you go to, 2 tickets to see this movie.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
And sorry. I was during doing some research, I learned that they ended up so the Universal itself takes about 50% of the box office home with them, in most cases, not everywhere. But with doing the PVOD, they take 80% of the money.
The studio.
The studio does. That is the income that they get out of it.
It sounds like how it is with the theater.
Yeah.
That's how it was explained to us, I believe, when we came in. Is like they pretty much explained it that it's like first week it's like 90-10, second week 80-20, and then it keeps going. So, and that's why they push concessions, is because by the time the theater even makes any money on tickets, movie's on its way out.
Yeah.
So all the money comes from concessions. So again, with certain titles, and it seems like it's not the big boys. You're still going to get Fast and Furious. You will get your big time horror films. You will get like God, I'm trying to think of the big franchises for fucking Universal.
Oh, I do have actual money. I didn't realize that I had it. So the movie grossed almost $100 million in rentals within 3 weeks.
And that was 3 months worth of the first Troll movies being in theaters.
Correct.
So yeah, they made a big return on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they ended up amounting to $77 million in revenue because 20% of that was going to whatever services they were using to release this.
Sure. A couple things. As far as it being on rental for 2 days and it being $20. As far as the 2 day rental, yes, that sucks, but that is a day longer than if you were to go spend the $40 to go see it at the fucking movie theater. That includes your ticket and your concessions. So people that have been bitching and I have had people bitch to me about the $20.
And typically also the Trolls is going to be for kids. And think about it, you're probably going to be spending more than $40 if you're taking children to it, depending on how many kids you have. And with kids, they're going to want concessions. Shoot, when we worked there, the kids are always trying to get the candy, and a lot of parents cave, which I was surprised.
Yeah,
because that candy is over.
Yeah, that's like $5 plus you like $10 for your popcorn plus $10 for your fucking drink. Like you're saving. You do save money watching it for a couple days at home. As far as the $20 go for us here in Michigan, that's $10. That's 2 tickets.
Yes.
Okay, in the major markets, that's 1 ticket.
Correct.
So major markets are saving money, and regardless. Personally, I think everybody saves money on this experience. So, if you're AMC and you're telling this fucking major studio to go kick rocks, you're out of your goddamn mind. Because, look, I don't know if anybody realizes this, but this is where we're going to end up. This whole streaming
eventually,
thing,
yes.
Theaters are dying. Theaters are going to go the way of the dinosaurs probably within the next 10 years. Honestly.
Which is sad. I mean, I love the movie theater experience as long as it's a good theater to go to. sadly, it makes sense, and
Actually, maybe 10 years might be a little quick, but it's coming.
it'll eventually happen where it's theaters will eventually be non-existent, and that's so sad to think of.
So why, as the biggest theater franchise in the world, would you tell a movie studio we are not going to play your films anymore?
Especially one with Universal, who puts out pretty big titles here and there. Especially like
They
Fast
got
and
the fucking
Furious.
Fast and Furious franchise, for crying out loud. You just told
And
that
that's a
studio
huge
we're not going to show your
pullout.
movie anymore.
Actually, I remember when
And Universal didn't say we're not going to give you that movie. You're still going to get that movie.
Yeah.
It's the lesser ones that we're going to stream, man. What are we talking about here?
One thing that I read here, let me try to actually find it, because it's a theory that, where is it? In theory, if I remember correctly of what it was in my notes. Oh, here it is. So Universal, in theory, could expand this approach after theaters reopen, making releases available on PVOD on the same day and date as theatrical releases, so that audiences have both the option to see the brand new films either in the theater or in the comfort of their own home.
Yes. Now, I have absolutely picked a side, and I've picked the side of Universal. And the reason why is because Universal, and maybe you were getting to that, again, didn't say, like, the big boys, the big releases are going to be put on demand, because they're not. They're going to be put in the theaters. Now, if Universal comes out and says that, no, that's not true, we were going to put the big titles on demand as well, then AMC has every right to be pissed. But as of right now, that's not the information that's out there. That's not what's been said.
So Shell, who is from Universal, he stated to the Wall Street Journal that as soon as theaters open, we expect to release movies on both formats. Shell's comments were basically interpreted as fighting words to those in the business of showing movies on the big screen, so specifically AMC.
Yes.
And just to scroll through really quick. So Universal reported, like you stated, a day earlier that Pete Davidson and Jude Apatow?
Jude Apatow.
Basically, The King of Staten Island would also forgo theatrical release and would go onto the PVOD format.
Right.
And let's see, there was something else that was stated. I'm trying to find it.
And this sounds terrible. This is going to sound really fucking terrible, but who is lining up to see The King of Staten Island? Who is lining up outside of a movie theater trying to get pre-order tickets for that?
Right. So right here it says, it remains to be seen if Universal is going to continue playing around with theaters' exclusive access to films. So one thing is, let's see. So, but if Aaron, who is the CEO of AMC.
Yeah, Adam Aaron. Fuck that guy.
He, if he makes good on the threat, that would deprive Universal of thousands of screens to play movies on, and pissing off the world's largest exhibitor would end up taking a big chunk out of the studio's box office stuff, but with some of the films they put out, they still might get that turnaround anyway.
If AMC tells Universal to go fuck themselves and sticks on this path, you know what ends up going on streaming and blows up streaming? Fast 9.
So one thing is, so Fast and Furious 9 and Jurassic World are both Universal films.
Thank you. I totally forgot about fucking Jurassic Park. Thank you.
Yes. So that was in the next part of my notes. Basically, if, as you already stated, if they cut off Universal, AMC, who's already, having financial hardships, are going to lose these two specific titles
Yes.
and franchises that bring in big bucks, that really bring in the people. And, those are the kind of blockbusters that can be counted on not to just sell tickets, but also to go and sell concessions, as we were stating earlier. And popcorn, the concessions, all that sort of stuff is what really these exhibitors, the theaters, rely on to bring in the most amount of the revenue.
That's what they say anyway.
Yeah. I mean, I believe it. It's not so much, it's not how they bring in the most of their revenue, but I think it's the way they boost the most amount of their revenue.
Right.
So it's like...
But how much money are you going to make off concessions off of King of Staten Island?
Not much, but there's also theories and speculations going out that for, like, let's say when Fast 9 comes out.
Yeah.
It may be at the theaters, but it also may be available for PVOD.
And if that is the case, if that ends up being how it's going to go, then I'm totally on the theater side.
Right.
100%. But since that's not, there's no evidence of that right now, I'm with Universal on this one. I would do the same thing. I have this title. I don't think it's going to do that good in the theater, so I'm going to put it on streaming.
Yeah.
Fast 9, Jurassic World, those are going in the fucking theater because I know people are going to show up for that shit.
Yep. So the CEO of AMC did state that Universal
I'm a jackass.
unilaterally chose to break our understanding and did so at the height of the pandemic crisis when our business is closed. And right now they have more than 35,000 employees that are without a job. And they don't have, and no theater right now has a clear date for when cinemas can reopen.
Right.
Because, I mean, shoot, things could go back to normal, but then there's already been speculations that we're going to end up getting a second wave, because these type of viruses have that issue.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like,
and shit, yeah.
it's kind of like the whole thing, like, okay, people may be able to go back to work, this sort of thing, but are places like that going to be able to reopen?
Yeah.
They may not be able to, and it's kind of like this weird situation for the film industry where we can't see and we can't predict what's going to happen yet, because we can't predict when the second wave's going to hit either.
The film industry will end up being fine. I think it will find a way to adapt and still make movies.
I think
you can make films like fucking Unfriended, that horror film. They made it on Skype.
Yep.
Like, you can still make films.
Yep.
That's not going to hurt. It's hurting the movie theater industry, which I totally understand. Real quick.
So, like, the film industry is going to be fine. The ones that sadly in this film industry that's going to get hurt is the movie theater industry.
Correct. So real quick, because I can hear the keyboards typing right now. As far as it being $20 and it being for 2 days and this being during the pandemic and it all being substantial evidence, here's the deal. For Trolls 2, this was the perfect movie to put out, and do this experiment with, because as far as like critical response, I haven't looked at it, but I'm pretty sure Trolls 2 isn't exactly going to win any fucking awards. This is purely for children and for families. This is something to turn on to get your kids to shut up. I totally understand.
Yeah, and a lot of family right now are struggling with having their kids at home and trying to juggle work and that sort of thing. Right now, it's a good distraction for the kids.
So here's my thing. As far as it being $20, if you spend $20 and it's you and your spouse or it's you and your kids, whatever, as long as there's 2 people watching this movie for 2 days, I think that's more than a fair price. As far as it being a rental for 2 days, you fucking see a movie for a couple hours one day. One day. Okay, so for 2 days, you're already getting your money. You're getting more value out of that.
And let's be real: if kids are really into the movie, they're gonna keep just replaying it back to back to back.
Yes, but that's not the point. The point is like if you want to try and argue with me that the $20 is too much and the fact that you only get it for 2 days is bullshit.
Well, what I was saying, like, if you have children and they like the film, I mean, shoot, I know as a kid, there was a couple of films I watched. As soon as it ended, I replayed it. Like, I immediately hit play again.
Right.
And so if that's the case and your kids are doing that, you're getting your money's worth.
Right, exactly. So if this movie is making money, which it is, it's already performing better at home than it was performing in the theater. If you're the theater and you're already dying, why would you give the studios more incentive to stream their movies?
Especially when it's a place like Universal, which typically puts out some pretty big names every year to every couple of years.
Correct. So if you tell them, fuck you, now Jurassic World goes on streaming, Fast 9 goes on streaming, whatever other franchises they have, the big ones, they go on streaming. You mean to tell me that people aren't going to stream Fast 9 when that comes out? Or Jurassic World 3 when that comes out?
Let's be real.
And if you're worried about the $20, that's just for right now because this is an experiment. If they're forced to keep doing this and more people are paying, it ends up becoming a subscription thing. So now what? It's like $10 a month? Even if it's $20 a month and Fast 9's on there, people are going to fucking pay for that.
Hey, if I'm paying $10 a month to be able to stream a plethora of movies, that's worth it. Because I'm the type of person who goes to the movies, not every week, but at least 2 times a month typically, depending on what films are coming out.
Look at that domino effect. So Universal starts it, and then they see their returns, and they're doing gangbusters because people are gonna fucking stream Fast 9 and Jurassic World 3.
When they're able to bring $77 million back from something that made $100 million, that's a great profit for them. Where comparatively the numbers fluctuate.
And it did take 3 months to do it.
Yeah,
it took 3 weeks.
And numbers fluctuate and change when you're with theaters, because they have different deals with all the different theaters. You know, I'm sure they don't go in and be like, okay, you get 50%. You know, I'm sure it's not all unilateral across the board for all the different theaters.
Right, and
they
nobody's
have different contracts with each one.
And nobody's gonna want to hear from the theater and be like, well, if you're gonna do that, then fuck you. Okay, cool. So
Especially,
Universal went and fucked off and they did it. Now they've got their returns. So now Paramount does it. Now fucking Disney does it.
Disney does it too.
And what happens to AMC and the rest of the theaters? Well, now you're dead faster than you were going to be. So good call telling them to go fuck themselves.
And the biggest thing, at least for here in Michigan, the theater that is complained about the most
is the biggest one.
Which is, in this case, AMC.
Yeah.
It's like AMC, now I don't know about other places, but here in Michigan, AMC doesn't have the best reputation. We have AMC, we have Imagine, and we have MJR. Tell you what, now that I don't work at AMC and I don't get free movies anymore, I'm always at one of the other two.
Hey, look, that's
personally.
Because I don't wanna fucking do all that, but just as a business decision, this seems like a huge oversight.
They already have a bad name to customers in a lot of places.
Yes.
And then they're going and making this decision, and they're already financially hurting. I don't see what they're thinking.
Well, that's what happens when your business practice is buy up every little theater chain that we can, be number one to make all the money, and then shit goes south and you just continue to dig yourself a hole. So you know what? Me personally, I'm done. AMC can kiss my ass. Fuck them. In my opinion. You know, and I don't want to do like a smear campaign because I don't think like this is going to ruin AMC. They're doing it to themselves.
They're doing it to themselves. And if anyone is wondering, other movie theater chains that are being they're being very tight-lipped about their views, and even people have stated, like, I want to say it was Cineplex maybe. They're basically saying like AMC and Universal should keep all this discussion in private. Because like it's just going to be more damaging in the long run if they keep blowing it out there.
Yeah, and it's going to hurt the theaters more than it's going to hurt the studios, because the studios can just be like, fine, we'll take our movies and we'll stream them, and we're still going to make our money. We don't have to share with you.
Exactly. So, you know, the other theaters, basically the only theater that is speaking up right now against Universal is AMC, and everyone else is being really quiet.
If anybody thinks that the studios need the theaters, you are out of your fucking mind. Because we have streaming. There are other avenues for studios to release their films.
They can either start creating their own streaming services, or they can make one big one that everyone goes into, or they're going to start joining up with Netflix. They already released their films on Netflix, Hulu, on Amazon Prime, that sort of stuff. Well, let's just make those big releases happen with them too.
This is already where this is going.
Yeah.
It's already going to end up here. So if you're the movie theaters, the last thing you want to do is dig your own grave faster.
Stop pushing the buttons. Like literally push the brakes at AMC and think about in the long run how this may harm you.
Get more info first, because if Universal is going to do this with the big theaters, then I am 100% on the movie theater side. But right now, that is just not what's happening. That's not the information that's out there. So you're jumping the gun.
Yeah. I think maybe take some time to do some private talks and figure out what is Universal's game plan, what do they want to do, and see how you can either join into that game plan or how it's going to affect you and make your decisions from there. Right now I feel it's a big this happened, so we're just going to we're butthurt, so I'm going to blow up.
They're being a big baby about this right now. And we will make another video if it comes out, and that's what Universal's going to do, and the big boy for their catalog is going to go on streaming as well. I will come on here and I will say AMC is right. But for right now,
absolutely.
They're fucking stupid.
This is a topic I want to keep following and seeing how it changes and progresses. So if there's anything new that comes to light under this sort of situation and what's going on with them, obviously we'll release it and let you guys know as soon as we do.
Absolutely.
So
That's everything I need to say.
yeah, I'm good too. Was there any other things you want to bring up, or are we good to close?
We're good. Close out.
All right. Well, thanks again, guys, for tuning in to the Wannabes podcast. We greatly appreciate, all of your viewership, and make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let us know in the comments below what films you like, or if there's any news that we didn't touch on, something you'd like us to discuss as well. Let us know. And you can find us on all of our social medias, which ones?
I don't know the name.
Oh my God.
Yeah, don't make me do it.
No, I said which. Never mind. So we are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Podcast Wanna. We are working on getting our audio available on podcast form, so bear with us. As soon as those are figured out,
Then you'll have
there will
a
be an
nice
announcement.
backlog to just listen to the audio.
Absolutely.
It's gonna be great. You can also follow us individually on Twitter and Instagram as well. I am Luke W306.
And I am Morgan H_films on both of those as well.
Perfect.
Yeah. All right. Well, we hope to see you guys in the next one. Remember, don't forget the popcorn. I'm Morgan Holsworth, and this is...
I'm very irritated. No, I'm Luke Walters. Thanks for watching. Please support.
Thanks for watching.